Hello everyone, welcome to another session of learning. We are learning the socialization process under child development pedagogy for CTET or the TNTEP, that is the state teacher eligibility test exam. And now we are getting into the third part of the socialization process chapter. Now, when we get into this third part, we are going to discuss the factors of socialization process and the stages of socialization. Now, first, we look into the factors of socialization process. The factors of socialization process are four. We are going to see one by one. The first one is called the imitation. When we look into the imitation, what is imitation? Imitation is when you copy someone's actions. Okay, so it's nothing but copying someone's actions, words, or behaviors, either knowingly or unknowingly. And we all know that the initial thing which we all do during our first stage is imitate. Okay, here you can see in these pictures that the children are imitating. Here the child imitates from its peer, here from the parents, here from an adult. Okay, the imitation is being done. And is this important for socialization? Yes, it is very important for the basic social behaviors to adopt to the regular customs, the traditions, and to develop a sense of self also. Okay, for all these things, this factor of socialization process is very important. The second factor of socialization process is suggestion. We always try to get some suggestions. Though we may follow it or not, though we may like it or not, we all look forward for some suggestions. Okay, it might be logical or not, and however it may be, we always look forward for suggestions from many people. Okay, so it can be through some talk, okay, that is through language, or it may be through some pictures, or even from social media. Even from media, we take a lot of suggestions nowadays. Okay, nowadays media is playing a very important role. And now, do they influence socialization? Yes, it influences, or it is an important factor in the socialization process because it influences a person's behavior. Okay, it influences a person's behavior in how they need to think, how they need to act, and all these things. And it is very easy to suggest something to a child than to an adult. So suggestion process is going to be very easy in the case of a child, or you can say children are highly suggestible. The next one is going to be identification. Identification is the third factor of socialization process, wherein identification, when you talk about identification, how well you are able to identify people around you. So we even discussed in the earlier videos, like once you identify something common, something similar, you feel little more comfortable. Okay, because when you identify certain things in a place, if you have some things are there or some people are there, okay, some persons are there, in that case, if you are able to familiarize with them, then you will have a sense of belongingness, and you will develop a bond with such people. Okay, so for all these things, you'll be able to easily adopt their traits and everything. Okay, so it helps a child to be very sociable when they are able to identify with familiar things, familiar pictures, or familiar situations. Okay, so this also helps in the socialization process. The last factor which I would like to discuss here is the language, which is very important. So how you communicate is very important. You may not even use words, you may also use gestures. Okay, so when you give some gestures, then also you will be recognized. When you use some symbols, yes, you also communicate through this. All these also are a part of the language factor which helps in the socialization process, because only with all these you will be um, able to convey the culture, convey your ideas, skills, and it also takes a major role in shaping the personality of a person and how to interact in complex situations. For all these things, these four factors are going to help a child in the socialization process. Okay, so these factors, when we see, that is imitation, suggestion, identification, and language, we are able to see that they are not individual. We cannot divide everything separately. Okay, when you imitate something, you do it because you feel like you're getting some suggestions. From where you will get suggestion? Only when you identify some person. Okay, and for all these things to come in place, language plays a major role. So from this we can say that the factors of socialization process are imitation, suggestion, identification, and language. So with this we are completing with the factors of socialization process. Now getting into the stages of socialization. When you look into the stages of socialization, there are, we are dividing it in many ways they can divide. Okay, here for this video I am dividing it based on two theories. Okay, from the first theory, the first classification is made, the second one is made from the second set of things. Okay, the first one, according to the first stage of socialization, we are classifying it into primary, secondary, and adult socialization. Looking into the primary socialization. So primary socialization, it takes place in the infancy and early childhood. It takes place in the infancy and in the early childhood. So when you talk about this, who are going to be there? There you can see that the main people who are going to be related are the family. Okay, are the family, and then you can say this slowly even the primary schools and the preschools also play a major role in the early childhood. Okay, so here the fundamental values are being taught, their norms, the language, and a sense of self. They tend to identify themselves. Okay, and this is all very basic, and it forms the foundation of their learning process in the future. So this is primary socialization. Now getting into the secondary socialization. Secondary socialization, when you say, you can say that it is about the later childhood and the adolescence. Okay, it talks about later childhood and the adolescence, and you can also say that even adult stage also plays a role here. So here, who play a major role here? Schools play a major role, peer groups play a major role, media plays a major role, and even the religious institutions where they go to, they play a major role. And if they have started working, their workplace also plays a major role. Okay, so all these are going to be very important, and you can say that they the broader learning happens here, and they get to know about their own roles. They get to know their roles and responsibilities, and they learn about adjusting into a new culture, because they go through a different stage from later childhood to adolescence itself. They need to adjust to different culture, and there you can say that you'll be they'll be able to understand how things has to take place. The final thing would be, the first set of socialization would be adult socialization. So when you talk about adults here, you mainly have you say you build up your own family, and then in your workplace sometimes you also become an employer. Okay, you might have new communities, you have various life experiences. Okay, in these cases you need a lot of adaptation, you need to understand. And in most of the people, this is the stage where the re-socialization occurs. Re-socialization means you remove whatever is there in the older, your younger self, and then you replace it with some new thoughts, new ideologies, and everything. So this is all dealt with the adult socialization. Another breakdown of the stages of socialization with another theory gives rise to four more stages. The first one is the oral stage. Oral stage, it talks about the infancy stage. So when it talks about the infancy stage, it is from birth to 1 year. Okay, from the time a child is born till the first year. What is happening here? Their learning is based mostly on their mouth. Okay, that is what. Yes, because they do a lot of activities only with their mouth. They'll be sucking, biting. So, all those things you can say. So, in this stage, they form the dependency. Okay, they tend to be more dependent. Okay, and they learn about the care which they get, and they learn to trust. Okay, all these things happens in this stage of socialization. The next one is called as the anal stage. So that takes place from 1 to 3 years. So from 1 to 3 years, you can say that here what happens here is they learn about the self control, they learn about the society into their own society. Their own society will be within the family, or at the maximum in their play school or in their neighborhood. Okay, that's all they knew, and they will learn about how their attitudes will vary when they face certain situations. Okay, all these things happens in the anal stage, 1 to 3 years. The next one is the puberty stage. Okay, puberty stage is still 12 years, like around 12 years and all. Or you can also call this as the latency stage. So here you can say that they will identify themselves with their peers. Okay, they will develop the concept of competence. Okay, they will learn to compete, and they will have the societal values and skills. They'll develop a lot of skills outside the family situation. They'll be able to equip themselves, enhance themselves. So all these things happens. Beyond the puberty stage, whatever happens, that is going to come with the adolescent stage. Okay, so in this adolescent stage, what will happen is they'll strive for intimate relationships, and they will feel that they must be treated like adult. So adult responsibilities are going to come in this stage only. Um, and then you can see that there's a major transition into independence. Okay, they try to become very independent, and then they try to explore their own identity. They try to find out who they are, their values, their roles, and they want to uh, perform very responsibly as an adult in the society. So these are the two different stages. Okay, this according to the first classification, you have three: primary socialization, secondary socialization, and adult socialization. According to the second classification, you have the oral, anal, puberty, and the adolescent stage. So you can see that almost these two are interrelated. Okay, because here you can see that primary socialization deals with the infant, deals with a child, a small child within. You can say these two comes in into the primary socialization, and these two come to the secondary socialization, and then comes the adult socialization. So many different such classifications will be there in various study materials or textbooks or online materials and all. Okay, so whichever you may go through, you just need to understand the roles and responsibilities of the children during each stage of socialization. Okay, so with this, we are completing with the factors of the socialization process and the stages of socialization. Hope you understood all these. If not, please get back to the videos and try to listen once again, so that it will be easy for you. See you again in yet another session of learning. Thank you, everyone.